Time is not merely ticking on a clock. It is the silent river carrying us all toward the unknown. Every moment you hesitate, every breath spent in doubt, is not wasted. It is a note in the greater symphony of your becoming. Failure is not the enemy, but the echo of life calling you deeper, shaping you, chiseling away the unnecessary, until what remains is truer, more luminous. The pauses, the setbacks, the quiet hours of questioning, these are not empty spaces. They are the threads binding your story to something infinite, something divine. We are not separate from the struggles we endure. They are the very language through which existence whispers its wisdom. And so, when you feel lost, when you feel behind, remember, you are not late and you are not broken. You are precisely where eternity placed you, unfolding in rhythm with the cosmos, time. We talk about it as if it were an endless stream, something we can spend carelessly and then earn back tomorrow, but the truth is, time is the only currency you can never replenish. You can lose money and you can make it again. You can lose possessions and you can rebuild them. You can lose opportunities and even new ones will come. But the moment that just passed, it's gone forever, carved into eternity. And yet, most people treat time as if it were disposable, as if they had an infinite supply. But what if time isn't something you simply use? What if it's something sacred? Imagine time not as a ticking clock, but as a living, breathing current of life moving through you, moment by moment. Each second isn't neutral. It's a vessel waiting to be filled with meaning, waiting for you to choose how it's shaped. When you drift through days on autopilot, you don't just waste a time. You dishonor the sacred flow that is carrying you toward your highest becoming. Think about how easily we trade away the hours, scrolling endlessly, numbing ourselves with distractions, waiting for some external sign to give us permission to start living. We say, one day I'll go after that dream, one day I'll have the courage, one day I'll change, but one day is a thief. It robs you of the only day you truly have, which is right now. And when you hand over your present moment, you're not just delaying action. You're refusing the invitation that life itself is extending to you in real time. But here's the deeper truth. Every choice you make with your time is not just about productivity. It's not just about efficiency or getting things done. It's about alignment. How you spend your time is a mirror of what you truly value. If you want to know what someone worships, look at how they spend their hours. Because worship isn't only found in prayer or rituals or moments of silence. It's found in the small, unconscious acts that fill the space between waking and sleeping. And this is where the shift happens. When you stop thinking of time as something you own and start experiencing it as something entrusted to you, everything changes. You stop asking, how much time do I have? And start asking, what will I create with the time I've been given? You realize that the hours of your day are not accidents. They are opportunities for you to participate in something larger, to step into your role in the grand unfolding of existence. Now, I know there's a voice in the back of your head that says, but I've already wasted so much time. Maybe you feel like years have slipped through your fingers. Maybe you've been carrying regret, telling yourself that if only you'd acted sooner, if only you'd been braver, you'd be further along. But let me tell you something. There is no wasted time when it wakes you up. Every detour, every delay, every so-called wasted hour becomes sacred the moment you choose to see it as preparation, as the shaping of who you must become to hold the life you're meant to live. So the question isn't whether you've lost time, it's whether you will awaken now. Will you stop letting the clock run your life, and instead let your life define how the clock is spent? Will you choose to honor each breath as a gift, or keep waiting for a tomorrow that will never arrive? Because the truth is, the time to begin is not later, it is not someday, it is not after you're ready, it is here, it is now, it is this very moment, vibrating with possibility, asking you, what will you do with me? And when you answer that question with courage, when you choose to treat your time as sacred, you stop wasting life, because you finally start living it. The clock is not ticking against you. It's ticking for you if only you dare to move with it. We've been taught to fear failure as if it were some final verdict on who we are, a stamp that says we're not good enough. But failure isn't the end of your story, it's the shaping of it. It's not a thief that steals your worth. It's a teacher that hands you the lessons you couldn't learn any other way. When you stumble, when you fall flat on your face, when the plan collapses and the dream feels out of reach, that's not life shutting the door. That's life refining you, chiseling you into someone who can hold the vision you've been carrying. Think about it. If everything came easy, if every step worked the first time, if success just landed in your lap, you wouldn't be strong enough to keep it. You wouldn't have the character, the depth, or the wisdom to carry the weight of what you're asking for. Failure is the gym your soul trains in. It's resistance, it's friction. It's the very force that builds you into someone bigger than your setbacks. But here's the problem. Most people run from failure. They label it shameful, they bury it, avoid it, or let it define them. They think, I tried once, I fell short, so maybe it just wasn't meant to be. But what if the fall was the proof it is meant to be? What if the fall was the very thing required to stretch you into alignment with your purpose? The truth is, you don't grow when things are easy. You grow when you're pressed, when you're broken open, when you have no choice but to rise. Let me tell you something powerful. Failure doesn't mean you're behind. It means you're alive. It means you're in the arena. It means you had the courage to step into the unknown, to risk, to try to move. Most people waste their entire lives standing on the sidelines, waiting for certainty, waiting for a guarantee. But those who dare to fail are the ones who eventually discover just how limitless they truly are. Failure also strips away illusion. It shows you who you are when comfort is gone. It reveals whether your dream was just a fantasy or whether it's a calling so deep that no setback can break you. And when you keep moving after failure, when you choose to learn instead of quit, you're no longer just chasing a goal, you're becoming a different person. You're stepping into the version of you who's stronger, wiser, and more resilient than the one who started. Now, I'm not saying failure feels good. It hurts. It rattles your confidence, it shakes your identity, it makes you question if you're capable, but pain is not punishment. Pain is the evidence that you are being stretched into something greater. If you can sit with that pain, if you can listen to it instead of running from it, you'll realize it's pointing the way forward. Every setback whispers, here is where you must grow, here is where you must expand. The most extraordinary people you admire, the ones who seem untouchable, didn't get there by avoiding failure. They got there by collecting it, learning from it, stacking it beneath their feet, and standing taller because of it. They built their greatness on the very ground where most people gave up. So the next time you fail, don't call it an ending. Call it the beginning of a deeper chapter. Don't shrink back. Lean in. Don't bury the lesson. Harvest it. Because failure doesn't mean you're done. It means you're being asked, how badly do you want this? Who are you willing to become in order to claim it? And if you can answer that with courage, if you can keep moving even when the path is dark, you'll realize that failure was never your enemy. It was always your greatest ally. Failure doesn't stop you. It sculpts you into the person who cannot be stopped. Silence is something we've forgotten how to honor. In a world that never stops talking, that never stops buzzing, we've been conditioned to believe that movement equals progress, that noise equals life. But some of the most profound breakthroughs don't happen in the roar of action. They happen in the quiet, in the stillness, when the world around you goes silent and all you're left with is yourself. Think about it. The seed doesn't break open in the spotlight. It cracks in the dark soil, buried, unseen. A child in the womb grows not in the noise of the world, but in silence, in hidden rhythms that prepare it for life. In the same way, the seasons of your life that feel still, empty, or even stagnant may not be punishment. They may be preparation. Stillness is not absence. It's a sacred pause, a recalibration, a moment where life rearranges itself so that when you move again, you move with greater clarity and purpose. But because we crave speed, because we fear being left behind, we misinterpret silence as failure. We think, I'm not moving fast enough, nothing's happening, I must be stuck. Yet what if those are the very moments when everything that matters is happening beneath the surface? What if the quiet seasons are where your roots grow deep enough to hold the weight of what's coming? You see, silence is not wasted time, it's invested time. It's the time when your soul gathers strength for the leap ahead. The problem is, most people can't sit in silence. They rush to fill it, with distractions, with noise, with anything that numbs the discomfort of simply being. But silence has a voice, stillness has a rhythm, and if you dare to listen, you'll realize that it's not empty, it's overflowing. It's filled with insights, with creativity, with answers you've been chasing outside of yourself. It's in the quiet moments that clarity finally breaks through, like a whisper you could never hear above the chaos. And isn't it true? Some of the greatest revelations in your life didn't come while you were hustling or grinding. They came in the shower, on a walk, in those in-between spaces where your mind softened enough to receive them. That's the gift of stillness. It's the birthplace of vision. It's the chamber where transformation brews. But here's what makes it even more powerful. Silence also tests you. Can you stand the discomfort of waiting without needing immediate proof? Can you trust that just because you can't see progress doesn't mean progress isn't happening? That's faith, that's the muscle silence builds in you. The ability to believe that life is moving even when you cannot measure it. When you embrace stillness, you stop fighting time. You stop forcing outcomes. You begin to see that life has its own cadence, its own seasons, and that rushing only breaks you, but surrender allows you to flow. Stillness is not weakness, it's mastery. It's the place where you remember that you are not the clock, you are not the noise, you are the awareness behind it all. And when you carry that awareness back into action, your movement is different. It's intentional. It's clear. It's powerful. Because it's not frantic anymore, it's aligned. That's the paradox. The greatest momentum often comes out of the deepest stillness. So if you feel like nothing is happening right now, if you feel paused or silenced, don't resist it. Don't curse it. Lean into it. Because silence is not holding you back, it's holding you together. It's gathering the energy, the wisdom, the alignment you'll need for what's next. The quiet is not your enemy. It is the sacred ground where your future takes root. Struggle has a way of making us feel isolated, like we're the only ones carrying the weight, like our pain separates us from the rest of the world. But the truth is, struggle is the thread that ties us to everything. Every challenge you face isn't random, and it isn't meaningless. It's connected to something larger, something that not only shapes you, but also shapes the people you'll impact. Your pain and your growth are part of a web so intricate that you may not see the design right now, but it's there, unfolding with precision. Think about the moments in your life when you were broken open, when you felt like you couldn't possibly carry another burden. And then, later, you found yourself faced with someone else's pain, and suddenly you understood. Your struggle gave you compassion. Your suffering gave you language to comfort, to guide, to lift someone else. That's not coincidence. That's the interconnectedness of life. The very thing you thought was meant to crush you becomes the bridge that allows you to serve others. We often ask, why me? Why this? Why now? But what if the question is not why me, but who will I become because of this? Every struggle you endure builds layers of resilience, wisdom, and depth that wouldn't exist otherwise. Struggle is the sculptor, and growth is the sculpture. Without one, the other cannot exist. The oak tree doesn't stand tall because life was easy. It stands tall because storms came, winds tore at its branches, and its roots dug deeper to survive. The pressure that felt like an attack was actually preparation, and it's the same for you. The storm doesn't come to destroy you. It comes to anchor you, to root you in strength you didn't know you had. And here's the beauty. Your struggle is never just about you. Every time you rise from difficulty, every time you learn, Every time you choose growth instead of bitterness, you shift the energy not only in your life, but in the lives connected to yours. Your family, your friends, the people who look to you, even strangers you don't know yet, all are impacted by how you navigate your trials. When you grow, they feel it. When you transform, the ripple touches them too. This is why no challenge is wasted. Even when you can't see the purpose, even when the pain feels unbearable, trust that life wastes nothing. The struggle you carry today may become the exact strength someone else will need tomorrow. And in that way, your pain becomes sacred, because it's no longer just about what you endure, it's about who you become and what you give. But let's be clear, growth doesn't happen automatically. Struggle doesn't guarantee transformation. You can let hardship harden you, close you off, make you bitter, or you can let it break you open, stretch you wider, deepen your capacity to love, to lead, to live. The choice is yours. Struggle is inevitable, but growth is intentional. When you begin to see struggle through this lens, everything shifts. You stop asking for an easy life, and you start asking for the strength to live a meaningful one. You stop running from challenges and start recognizing them as the raw material for your evolution. Life isn't punishing you. It's partnering with you, shaping you, weaving your story into something that connects with countless others. And the moment you embrace this, you no longer see yourself as separate, alone in your hardship. You realize you're part of a grand design, a cosmic dance where every struggle feeds into growth, and every growth feeds back into the collective unfolding of humanity. Your struggles are not detours, they are the very roads that carry you into your becoming. Most people don't lose their lives in one catastrophic moment. They lose them slowly, quietly, by drifting. One day blurs into the next. They wake up, go through the motions, repeat the same habits, and before they know it, years have passed. They weren't defeated by some giant event. They were defeated by their own unconsciousness. And that's what wasting time really is. It's living without intention, letting the current of life drag you wherever it pleases instead of choosing the direction yourself. But here's the truth: intention is power. Intention is what separates existence from living. It's not about doing more, it's about choosing what matters. Every choice you make, no matter how small, carries energy. It shapes who you become, and when you drift, you're still choosing. You're just choosing by default. You're allowing distractions, old patterns, and the expectations of others to decide for you. And if you don't choose your life consciously, I promise you, someone else will. Think about this. Your time is sacred, and every hour is a seed. You can scatter those seeds aimlessly and wonder why nothing grows, or you can plant them with care, with clarity, with purpose, and watch a harvest unfold. The life you long for doesn't come from waiting for the perfect opportunity. It comes from directing your time with intention, moment by moment. But intention isn't just about action, it's about presence. It's about deciding to show up fully in whatever you're doing, instead of splitting yourself between 10 things at once. Because what drains us most isn't effort, it's fragmentation. When you bring intention to your time, you bring all of yourself to the moment. And that's when life responds with momentum. The problem is, drifting feels easier, it feels safe. It doesn't require you to face the discomfort of choice. It lets you delay, procrastinate, stay busy without being alive. But drifting is dangerous because while you're floating, time is still moving. The clock doesn't pause for indecision. Every drifted day is still spent. It's just spent without purpose. So how do you shift? You start by asking powerful questions. What do I want my life to stand for? What matters so deeply to me that it deserves my time, my energy, my heart? And then you let those answers guide your choices. That doesn't mean you'll never get distracted. It doesn't mean you'll never waste a moment. But when you live with intention, you always return to center. You always realign with what matters most. And here's the beauty. Intention creates energy. The more deliberate you are with your time, the more alive you feel. Suddenly, opportunities start to appear, not because the world changed, but because your awareness did. You start to see possibilities you missed before. You start to experience life not as something happening to you, but as something you're actively shaping. Every day, you're either drifting or directing. You're either letting life pull you wherever it wants, or you're steering the wheel, even if imperfectly, toward the life you were meant to live. And the difference between the two is everything. One leads to regret. The other leads to fulfillment. So ask yourself right now, am I drifting or am I choosing? Am I filling my days with what matters, or am I letting them slip quietly away? Because the future isn't created someday. It's created now in the choices you make today. Intention is the act of reclaiming your life, one choice, one moment, one sacred breath at a time. There's a moment when you begin to realize that your life is not a random sequence of events, not a disconnected string of wins and losses, but part of something far greater, a dance, a rhythm, a design, so vast that it can't be fully understood, only lived. And in that moment, you stop seeing yourself as separate, struggling against the current, and you start to recognize that you are the current. You are not outside the dance. You are moving with it, shaping it, and being shaped by it. So many of us live as if we're in a constant battle with life. We resist, we fight, we push, trying to bend reality to our will. And yes, there's power in determination, in persistence, in action. But there's also a deeper truth. Life is not your opponent. It is your partner. Every twist, every setback, every breakthrough, every joy. It's all choreographed into a rhythm that's guiding you somewhere greater than you can see right now. When you begin to see your journey through that lens, even your failures look different. They're not interruptions, they're steps in the choreography. Even silence has its place. The pause between movements that allows the next crescendo to rise. Nothing is wasted, nothing is random, it all belongs. Think about music. Without the low notes, the high notes would have no meaning. Without dissonance, harmony would feel flat. Without the rests, the melody would be chaos. Life works the same way. Your struggles, your pauses, your triumphs, your moments of doubt, they're all part of a composition, and the beauty doesn't come from one note alone, but from the way they all work together. This is why comparing your journey to someone else's makes no sense. You can't compare two different songs. You can't judge your path by their rhythm. The dance you're in is unique to you, and the only way to dishonor it is to stop moving, to refuse to step into the music that's been written for you. And here's what's remarkable. The moment you align with that rhythm, life stops feeling like a constant uphill battle. You still face challenges, yes, but you no longer see them as proof you're failing. You see them as movements in the larger dance. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this teaching me? What is this adding to the song of my life? When you live from that place, you discover a deep peace. You realize you're not late, you're not behind, you're not broken. You're perfectly in step with a rhythm older and wiser than you. And even when you can't hear the music clearly, you trust that it's still playing, still carrying you forward. This doesn't mean you become passive. It doesn't mean you sit back and wait for life to move you. A dance requires participation. You still have to show up, to step forward, to take risks, to trust the floor beneath you. But now, you move with the music instead of against it. You stop trying to control everything, and instead you co-create with the rhythm of life itself. And when you begin to live this way, something extraordinary happens. You realize you're not just part of the dance. You are the dance. You are the movement, the rhythm, the music. Your existence is not separate from the greater whole. It is the way the whole expresses itself through you. So if you've been fighting, if you've been resisting, if you've been carrying the belief that life is against you, let it go. Step back into the rhythm that's always been there. Trust that every note, every pause, every turn is working together to create something breathtaking. You are not chasing the dance of life. You are life's dance, unfolding in perfect time.